Today is the third session of on performance evaluation and management in your second year, second semester subject. As the first two sessions, we already discussed what is performance evaluation and management. It means introduction part of performance evaluation and management, and the second part, we discuss the purposes of performance evaluation and management. I think you have clear idea. You already have clear idea about the previous two sessions. Today we are going to discuss about the process. It means the performance evaluation models. How we can evaluate our employees' performance in an organizational setting. Before starting today's session, I hope to summarize what we already discussed. The first part, we discussed what is performance evaluation, basically the definition of performance evaluation and management, and why it is significant from the point of organization and the employee. Then we discussed the second session, purposes of performance evaluation. Why organizations as well as the employees are committed to do the performance evaluation and management. Why it is important for the employees, why it is important for the managers. There are several reasons. That reasons can be categorized as identify as the purposes of performance evaluation. Basically, we can divide it into two groups. It means there are two main purposes: management purposes and informative purposes. Then we discussed what is the management purposes. It means basically the management purposes is with the organization. It means the managers. Why managers are worried about the employee performance evaluation and management. The second category is informative purpose. It means employees perspective. Why employees are worried about their employees performance evaluation and management. But these two purposes are interrelated. If the management have proper performance evaluation and management practices and the best focus on that, it will benefit for the employees. On the other hand, employees is also worried about the performance evaluation and management that will helpful to enhance the organizational performance. Then we discuss one by one, what are the management purposes and what are the informative purposes. Management purposes we categorize into two groups: administrative purposes and the development purposes. Then now today we are moving to the third part of our course, the models of performance evaluation and management. This is the third session of your course, performance evaluation. This is the third session, model of performance evaluation. There are several models we can discuss, but here we basically focus on the performance management cycle and the systematic process of performance evaluation and management according to the Professor Opath. These are the intended learning outcomes of the today's session. After studying this session successfully, you should be able to describe and explain the steps of performance management cycle therapy. There are four main steps in performance management cycle. We'll discuss in this session. Describe and explain main activities of performance management. According to Armstrong 2006, we'll discuss what are the main activities of performance management. Then finally we'll discuss the steps of systematic process of performance evaluation and management according to Senior Professor Opath 2003. Okay, the first when we focus on the first learning outcome, it is about performance management cycle. You already aware about the basic management and the management functions: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. In here, performance management is also as the process of management. It consists four main for basic activities. Those activities are planning, act, monitor, and review. You already know about what is planning, decide what to do and how to do. Performance evaluation, performance management cycle is also when we are going to do the performance evaluation, we should plan what performance we are going to measure. Basically, performance evaluation and management is the collecting evidence about the employee's performance. In the planning stage, we should decide what employees' performance information we are going to gather and how to gather this information. The way we are going to use to collect that evidence. The second step is act, how to carry out the performance evaluation according to our previous plan. If we were decided to evaluate our permanent employees' performance evaluation, how we collect evidence about the employee's performance, evidence we should decide in the planning stage. As the second stage, acting, how if we plan to collect evidence biannually by conducting a formal performance evaluation, by filling performance evaluation forms by the immediate superior, we should implement that in the second stage. Then the third step is monitor. It should be checked on what is being done, measure outcomes in order to assess the progress of implementing plan. The planning is there. Now we implement it. In the monitor stage, we should compare what we plan and what is happening in the actual scenario. Then the review. It means the final step of the performance management cycle. Consider what has been achieved, and in the light of this, establish what more needs to be done and any corrective actions required. If in our plan we plan to evaluate our permanent employees' performance by using the evaluation is done by should be done by the immediate superior. Now we have the monitoring information. We monitor ongoing monitoring about the performance evaluation. Then we should revisit the review about what information we are gathered and how it is gathered. Now we have the results. Based on the results, we should consider again our plan, act, monitoring information. We should revisit all these components of the management cycle. Then the performance management cycle can be described as the continuous self-renewing cycle. It means the planning. You already aware about the basic management cycle. Is performance management is also same. The performance management cycle, there are 4 main steps. Performance agreement. We'll discuss what is the meaning of performance agreement, what it includes, personal development planning, the performing, and the performance review. These are the 4 main activities of performance management cycle. Performance agreement we'll discuss as the part of main activities of performance management. Personal development planning is also there. The performance main in our in the monitoring stage, performance evaluation is being done, but based on that monitoring information, performance review, performance evaluation should be done. Then the performance review, it means the revisit about the planning, performance agreement, and personal development planning and the monitoring stage. As our second integrated learning outcomes, we should learn about the performance management activities. According to Armstrong 2006, there are several main activities. The first performance management activity is goal definition. Goal definition means the key results, areas, and competence requirement are agreed. It means for the better best practices of performance management, we should have clear idea about the roles of employees. On the other hand, the roles of evaluator. In here, basically, the key results areas, it means when we are going to evaluate our employees' performance, we should have clear idea about what results we are going to evaluate, what competencies we are going to evaluate in our performance evaluation, what traits, behaviors, and results, all the components should be defined as the basic activity. We should define these are the main results. It means as the example in garment manufacturing organization, In our performance, we are going to evaluate the production employee in garment manufacturing organization. If we are going to evaluate the production employee, we should define these are the key results area. As example, a number of products produced by the employee, the quality of product, the standards. Then, likewise, we should have clear idea about what we are going to evaluate. It is role definition. Before evaluating the performance, it is better to define these are the roles of employees. These are the roles of these are the results areas we are going to consider in our performance management. As the second main activity, the performance agreement. In our previous performance management cycle, I mentioned it will be discussed in next slide. This is about the performance agreement. Performance in our previous chapter, we discussed the performance agreement as the part of the purposes of performance evaluation. In here, we discuss as the administrative purposes, as the part of management purposes. There are administrative and development purposes. Under the administrative purposes, we discuss performance evaluation is important for the human resource planning. In the hiring. In hiring is also performance evaluation is important in a two way. The first way is when we are preparing the letter of appointment. In the letter of appointment, we put the main results areas, what we expect from the employees. Also, in the letter of appointment, there are the agreement between employer and employee. But in the performance agreement, other than this basic information, there are several components of the performance agreement. The first one is what individuals have to achieve in the form of objectives. It means what results, what performance should be achieved by the employee. It is mentioned in the performance agreement. It is also in the letter of appointment, contract of employment. Employer is mentioned. These are the expected results, expected performance from you to the organization. But other than this information, performance agreement is mentioned how performance will be measured. These are the expected results. These are the way we are going to measure your performance and competencies needed to deliver the required results. These are the competencies needed to deliver the required results. It's also mentioned in the performance agreement. In the performance management, we should create or build the performance agreement by including the main performance objectives. These are the performances we expect from the employees, and these are the way we are going to measure your performance annually or biannually or monthly. These are the competencies required to deliver these results. These main three components should be included in the performance agreement. The next main performance management activity is to create the performance improvement plan. Performance improvement plan means individuals should do to improve their performance when it is required for the organization. As example, we evaluate our employees' performance, but it is not in the expected manner. We expect in a quantitatively. As example, we expect 100 products per day as the expected performance, but the actual performance of employee is 80. Is not in expected standards. By considering the performance should be improved. How performance can improve? It can be identified by the best or better performance evaluation because we have the information about the performance, actual performance, and the way they were used to achieve this actual performance. Then by changing the way they used to achieve these performance or by changing the employees' competencies or by changing the employee, we can improve how we can improve the performances of employee. This performance improvement plan should be create as the main activity of performance management. Actually, this is the performance agreement is the basic activity of role definition, and the performance agreement is the basic activity of the performance management. But after doing the first performance evaluation, we can create or we can build the performance improvement plan, because before evaluating the employee's performance, we cannot have create the performance improvement plan because we don't have the evidence about the actual performance or whether it is required to improve or not. Actually, we don't aware about the actual performance of employee is in an expected manner or not. The fourth performance management activity is personal development plan. It means it is set out the actions people should take to develop their knowledge, skills, and increase their levels of competencies. There are small differences between the personal development plans and the performance improvement plan. Performance improvement plan basically attempt to the organizational perspective, how we improve the performance of this job or this work group likewise. But in here, the personal development plans mean actions people should take to develop their in the employee side. Individually, we are considering about the individual employees who are doing our job, how we can improve or increase their level of competencies, how we can improve, develop their knowledge, skills, and all the things related to the person. That is included in personal development plan. That is why I mentioned the performance management is also the broad management cycle. In the broad management cycle, it is not just collecting evidence about the employee's performance and do increments or rewards. It is just not like that. Performance evaluation or performance management in a broad management cycle. Personal development is also a part of this cycle. The next one is managing performance throughout the year. It means the continuous reviewing process. If when we plan for the performance by performance agreement and the performance improvement plan and the personal development plan, now we are evaluating continuously, we are monitoring continuously how employees are engaging about to implement these previous plans. It includes the continuous process of providing feedback on performance. Basically, managing performance throughout the year is done through the continuous process of providing feedback on performance to the, it is provided feedback to the employee and it is also it is provided some feedbacks to the organization. Then conducting informal progress reviews. Sometimes in the organization, they decided they conduct performance evaluation annually, but after doing this year performance evaluation, according to their policy, the next performance evaluation should be located in next year. But 1 year is a long time period. During that 1 year time period, they can conduct some informal progress review by monthly progress, by considering monthly performance of the employee. Then after collecting monthly performance data, it is not better keep with the organization that information to provide at the end of the year. It is not usable because this month performance information can be revisited by the next month. This month performance evaluation data can be revisited by the next month. For that, informal progress reviews is also very important to managing performance throughout the year. Then some updates of the objectives. Sometime these we'll discuss as the part of systematic process of performance management. What are the performance objectives? Sometimes these performance objectives should be updated according to the organizational requirement or in the environmental changes, rather than necessarily dealing with performance problems. Sometimes we are planning in a different situation, but throughout the year, some different changes in environmental or in the organization or out of the organization. These expected performance cannot be achieved because these changes. Therefore, some problems should be solved when we conducting or when we managing the performance ongoing. For that, the problem solving is also the main performance management activity. The last activity of performance management is performance review. It means formal evaluation stage when review of performance over the period take place, covering achievements, progress, and problems as the basic for next part of the continuous cycle. We revisit Now we completed the performance evaluation and management as the first cycle, but we we should use that information to build up our next year planning, organizing, leading all the management activities. For that, we should review our plan. We should review our organizational structure. We should review our performance evaluation cycle is also itself. Then, for that, performance review is for that. Then, the third, when we focus to the third intended learning outcome, we should learn about the main activities of systematic process of performance evaluation. According to Senior Professor Opatha, 2002, performance evaluation is perceived as the systematic process of it involves 10 interrelated activities. What are the activities of performance evaluation and management? In here, there are 10. The first one is establish objectives of performance evaluation. Then the second one is formulate policies and procedures of performance evaluation. Third one, establish criteria and standards. We will discuss one by one as the part of in our next part of the lecture. Fourth step is select method or methods of performance evaluation. Design evaluation forms and procedures. Train evaluators. Appraise, it means evaluating. The discuss performance evaluation results. Make decisions and store the data. The last one is review and renewal. The first step is establish objectives of performance evaluation. In our previous session, we already discussed the purposes of performance evaluation and management. There are two management purposes and the informative purposes. Management purposes is for organizational perspective. Informative purposes basically for the employee perspective, but these two purposes are interrelated. Before evaluating employees' performance, we should establish objectives. These objectives you already know about the objectives. It is the basic component of essential component for the management. In the management, what objectives, what vision, mission, likewise, there are several terms we use for the future results. In here, by conducting performance evaluation, what are the results the organization want to achieve? It should be decided as the objectives of performance evaluation. These objectives are favorable targets should be achieved in future as the organization. For that, we should establish these are the objectives of performance evaluation. The organization being concerned targets except to the achieving through the act and evaluating employees' job performance. Management purposes, we discussed there are two categories: administrative purposes and the development purposes. Some organizations want to run their organization continuously. Performance evaluation and management is also helpful to continuity of the organizational process. That administrative purposes, there are some HR functions, PE information is essential to do the some HR functions. As example, for human resource planning, performance evaluation information is required. Some examples for the performance evaluation objectives is mentioned in my slide. To ascertain the current level of job performance of each employee, that data can be used. Gathering that data is one objective of performance evaluation. By using that information, we can use. By using that information, we can forecast next month human resource requirement in the human resource planning. On the other side, by ascertaining the current level of job performance, the performance mean not only the results, the way they are using, they were achieving that results is also considering under the performance. Therefore, the performance data can be recorded in the skill and management inventories in the human resource planning. That some organization do the performance evaluation, ascertain strength and weaknesses of the employees. This is from the both side we can use as the management purposes as well as informative purposes. Basically, this strength and weaknesses identification is very important for the employees for their development. It means this objective is established based on the informative purposes. To identify training needs, it is under the management purposes. We discussed there are two: administrative and development purposes. Training need identification may be one objective of the performance evaluation, that is under the development purposes of performance evaluation. To ascertain potential performance and development needs so as to develop the employees for the promotion. It is under the administrative purposes of performance evaluation. Whether this employee should be promoted to the next stage or not can be decided by using the performance evaluation data. Some organizations specifically attend to the performance evaluation and management because they should gather information about some selected 2 or 3 employees to examine whether these employees can be promoted to the next level or not. So that performance evaluation is also can be done. At that time, the objective of performance evaluation is to ascertain potential performance and development needs to develop the employees for the promotion. Provide fair and objective rationale in order to reward employees. In here, we discussed in our in our previous session, pay increments or incentives should be paid, or how much we should pay for the employees can be decided by using the performance evaluation data. That if someone asks why you pay for increment for this employee, you can give evidence by using the performance evaluation data. For that, some organization do the performance evaluation. At that time, the objective of performance evaluation is to create the rationale for the rewards to the employees. The second step is formulating policies of performance evaluation and management. What are the what do you mean by policies? The policies are the guidelines to think and act. How you should do the performance evaluation. It is guided by the policies of performance evaluation and management. How you should evaluate your employees' performance is the basic questions when you are actioning in your performance evaluation and management. The performance evaluation policies answer that basic questions. Solutions under that basic questions, we can identify some other several questions. Whose performance should be evaluated? When performance evaluation should be done, and how often should performance evaluation be done, and who should do the performance evaluation? Likewise, there are basic several questions under the how we evaluate employees' performance. Under the performance evaluation policies, we should formulate these policies to answer these main questions. As example, whose performance should be evaluated? Sometimes there are several types of employees in an organization, like permanent employees, casual employees, temporary employees, contract-based employees, likewise. Right. When we are going to do the performance evaluation, before doing the performance evaluation, we should decide we are evaluating only our permanent employees' performance, or we are evaluating all the employees of performance. Likewise, we have several options, but before doing the performance evaluation, we have exact idea, clear idea about what employees we are going to evaluate. We should have exact answer for that question. When should performance evaluation be done? There are several approaches we can evaluate our employees' performance. Sometimes the organization use fixed time approach. At the end of the year, we are evaluating all our employees' performance. Sometimes it's called fixed time approach. Sometimes some organizations evaluate their employees' performance in the anniversary date. It means the hiring date. If I were hired for this organization is July 1st, my performance evaluation is done in July 1st of every year. Likewise, there are several options, but before doing the performance evaluation, we should decide what approach we are going to use to evaluate our employees' performance evaluation. How often should performance evaluation should be done? Sometime most of the organization use the annual performance evaluation. It means the one time for the year. But some organization, as per their requirement, biannually they can evaluate their employees' performance, or monthly, weekly, or sometimes daily performance evaluation can be done. But there are several options. Before doing the performance evaluation, we should have exact answer how often we are going to evaluate our employees' performance. Who should do the performance evaluation? It's also, there are several options in practice. There is no exact answer for that, but organization can decide who should do the performance evaluation. As example, immediate superior of each employee should be evaluated, should evaluate their subordinate. It means who should do the performance evaluation? The answer is immediate superior. Sometimes immediate superior is not enough to do the performance evaluation. At that time, we can use immediate superior superior. Sometimes the superior perspective is not enough to do the fair evaluation. Therefore, we can use the 360-degree method. Superior and the peers as well as the subordinators should do the performance evaluation of employee. Sometimes most of the organization currently using the performance evaluation their customer feedback. It means who should do the performance evaluation? The customer is also as the part of the performance evaluation process. Third one, establish criteria and standards. There are two main terms, criteria and standards. What do you mean by criteria? The criteria mean what factors you are going to consider when you evaluate employees' performance. Factors that are used to evaluate job performance. As example, number of production employee in a garment manufacturing organization. There are several factors we can consider under the performance evaluation. As example, number of production errors per day, quality of work. If the errors are high, their quality of work is low. If the errors are in low level, their quality of work is high. Number of garment completed for the day. The factor is quantity of work. The third one, number of interpersonal complaints created by the employee during the month. By counting or considering the interpersonal complaints created by the employee, we can evaluate their cooperativeness. Number of work method initiated during the month. We can evaluate employees. The factor is initiatives. Some factors are positive factors. We are considering positively. Some factors we are considering as the negative factors. As example, production errors are the negative factors. If the number is high, their performance is in a low level. But as the last factor, initiative, number of work method is initiated during the month is high, their performance is also we identify as the high. The second term is standards. Standards mean a level of quality or attainment. A level of quality or attainment. Standard refers to the rating scale. In our previous example, production employee in a garment manufacturing organization, performance standards for the criteria of quality of work for the production employee. If the number of production errors per day is 0, their performance in excellent standards. If the production errors is less than 3, their performance standards are in a good level. Likewise, we can categorize, we can identify several standards or ratings. There are there are 5 ratings. It means the 5 standards of performance. The basic thing is, before doing the performance evaluation of our employee, we should identify what performance criteria we are going to consider when we are evaluating our employees' performance. It means what factors we are mainly considering when we are evaluating our employees' performance. On the second part of this step is standards. How we standardize their performance. We should decide before doing the performance evaluation of each and every employee. These criteria and standards should be linked with the performance criteria, performance objectives. What we are going to achieve by conducting performance evaluation. As example, we are going to pay for performance, rewarding our employees by using employees' performance data. We basically focus, we should highly attention on the quantity of work. If our reward system, when we considering our reward system, we are rewarding for the, we pay high increment for the excellent quantity of work. For that, we should highly focus when we are establishing criteria and standards. The main factor we should consider is the quantity of work, and the proper standards should be established for the quantity of work. The fourth step of the performance evaluation and management is the select method or methods of performance evaluation. There are many methods of performance evaluation. Today, as example, graphic rating scales and checklist method, multiple choice method, MBO or 360 method. Likewise, there are several methods of performance evaluation, but in here we cannot use all the methods of performance evaluation. Sometimes as per the organizational requirement, we can use one method or several two or more methods to do the performance evaluation. But it is better to use one performance evaluation method. That method should ensure all the factors and standards are covered to do the evaluation. When we select the performance evaluation methods, we should consider these all factors, situational factors, nature of the job, purpose of the evaluation, cost involved. Sometime the job is in an office environment, we can easily apply the documented method, but the job is located in several locations. It is traveling. It is difficult to use documented method to evaluate employees' performance. The next step is design evaluation forms and procedure. In here, there are two main terms: forms and procedures. After selecting the methods of performance evaluation, based on that evaluation, we can design the performance evaluation and procedure. The performance evaluation form means the specific form used by the evaluator or examiner for the purpose of recording the performance of employee. The performance evaluation form is the specific form filled by the evaluator. This recorded the performance data of employee. We should design the performance evaluation form based on the performance evaluation method. If we selected the graphic rating scale, our performance evaluation form differ from the if we use the performance evaluation method or bars method or 360 method, it is differ from the graphic rating. If we use the graphic rating method, procedures mean are the guidelines to fill or do the performance evaluation. Procedures use the relevant specific guidelines for the completing PE forms and do the performance evaluation. Procedures mean relevant guidelines. It's provided, basically it is provided the relevant guidelines to the evaluator. There are two approaches available for the when we designing the performance evaluation procedure. We can apply common procedure for the all the jobs of the when we evaluating all the jobs of the organization, or sometime we can prepare the separate procedure forms and procedures for the different jobs. It is depending on the nature of the job and other several factors. The next step of performance evaluation process is train evaluators. Before doing the performance evaluation, it is a serious function of human resource management that affected to the general management of the organization. Therefore, before engaging that serious function, it is necessary to give the required knowledge about how to do the performance evaluation of the employee. Evaluator can be trained by using different methods like case study method and by using the examples of performance evaluation as the role playing, or sometimes it may be lecture sessions. By using one selected method, we should train our evaluators. Evaluators mean who do the performance evaluation of employee. Sometimes these evaluators are not only the managers, sometimes it may be all the employees of the organization. Based on the performance evaluation method, As example, if we selected the 360-degree method, all the employees work at the one time may play a role as the evaluator, subordinator, or as the peer, or as the subordinator, or as the superior. Each party have some specific time to evaluate their peers or their superior or their subordinate, or sometimes themselves. There may be evaluators. We should train on our performance evaluation forms and procedure, how to fill the performance evaluation form, and these are the basic guidelines. It means these are the procedure we should follow when we are evaluating our employees' performance. The next step, the seventh step of the performance evaluation is appraise. It means the evaluation. Up to the 6 steps, up to this point, we already decided what we are going to achieve through the performance evaluation and how it should be done in a proper or systematic way. These all decisions are taken up to this step of performance evaluation. In here, where we are implementing the performance evaluation decisions, it means we are actually engaging or actually doing the performance evaluation. The evaluator is supposed to evaluate the actual job performance of the employee in order to achieve established objectives accordance with the policies, formulated criteria and standards, methods, forms and procedures. We already have all the required components to do the systematic performance evaluation. Now we are using that component to do the fair evaluation. Is the seventh step of performance evaluation. The next step is discuss performance evaluation results. Performance evaluation results mean collected information about the employee's performance. Performance evaluation is basically collecting evidence about the employee's performance. Now, after appraising stage or evaluating stage, after the seventh step of our systematic process, now we have the collected information about the employee's performance. That collected information should be discussed with the relevant parties. Basically, we have the completed performance evaluation form regarding the employee A. That information is about the employee A. Some information, that performance evaluation information, can be identify some weaknesses of the employee, some difficulties of the employees. If we were not discussed, it is not communicated to the employee. Our informative purposes not be achieved. It means the employee cannot get the proper feedback. For that, they should discuss these performance evaluation results with the relevant parties. Sometimes it may be employee, sometimes it may be managers. Likewise, there are relevant parties. Discussing performance evaluation results, we we have gathered information, we disclose this information to the relevant party in an expected manner. Once evaluation has been done, it is necessary that employees whose performance was evaluated receive the feedback. Feedback is the main reason to do the performance evaluation discussion, or that evaluation discussion is called performance feedback interviews. Performance feedback interviews. What is performance feedback interview? It's the interviews is basically in HRM. We use that term to the selection purpose, but in here there are some interviews between evaluator or management and employee. It is called performance feedback interview. The main purpose is to discuss PE results with the relevant parties. Basically, the discuss PE results with the relevant employee. That is called performance feedback interview, not for the selection purpose, just for the give and receiving the feedback of performance. There are several types of performance feedback interviews: tell and sell method, tell and listen interviews, and problem solving interviews. Sometimes it may be mixed type of performance feedback interviews. However, we will discuss this performance evaluation interview types in our next few sessions. The performance evaluation results should be discussed with the relevant parties, basically the employees who were evaluated. The main purpose of the performance evaluation discussion is to give the feedback to the employee. The next step, make decision and disclose. Decision making, actually the performance evaluation is collecting evidence to judge the employee is doing well or not. For that, therefore, the performance management or performance evaluation is basically attempt to collect evidence for or information. That information not be useful when we were not use that information to take decisions. As the ninth step of performance evaluation process, decision should be made, and that collected information should be stored in a proper manner. After discussion of PE results, we can identify some reasons. Sometimes there may be that results may be best or good or not. Sometimes our results indicate that the organizational job performance is in a low level. That after discussion with the employees, we can identify there are two types of barriers. Some barriers with the organization, some barriers with the employees. But if there is a barriers with the organization, management can decide what changes should be done in an organization. On the other hand, some performance evaluation information is important as our objectives of the performance evaluation. Performance, some objectives may decide rewarding our employees. When we will collect information about the employees' job performance. That information can be used for the to decide we are going to pay for the salary increment or not. Once evaluation is done, payment of not to pay the salary increment can be decided based on the evaluation results. After, as example, if our employees' performance are in a expected way, then the management can decide we should pay this year's salary increment. Someone can ask how you decide this salary increment is paid. You should have the evidence-based rational answer for that. That evidence is with the performance evaluation data. Therefore, that performance evaluation data should be recorded in a proper way. Otherwise, you may not have evidence to your decision. It may be create conflicts or some other problems in your organization. Therefore, the performance evaluation data is, if you use performance evaluation data to take some decisions, that information should be kept with you, stored with you, or in a systematic way. If some organization have the policy decision, performance evaluation data should be recorded in under the general manager or sometime under the human resource manager. Likewise, however, that recorded data should be stored in a proper way, in a secure way. The last step, that on the other side, that decisions evidence document may be your completed performance evaluation forms and procedure. Actually, the completed performance evaluation form, that is recorded the performance of employee in a way that provided by the performance evaluation, guided by the performance evaluation procedure. That form, completed performance evaluation forms, will become a reference document. If someone asks why you pay salary increment for this employee, not to pay for me, you can rational. You may have rational answer. You can explain to that person by using your completed performance evaluation forms. That forms may become an evidence document to the decision. The last step of the performance evaluation process is review and renewal. The review, we already discussed about the review as the main step of the management cycle, review and renewal. The performance management process, it's also as the last step of the performance evaluation process. We should review our tasks, duties, and responsibilities of the job, and the environmental changes. And after collecting these performance information, we can identify some negative points with the job. Sometimes it may be with the organization. Sometimes the reasons may be with the employee. Sometimes that reasons for the poor performance will be with the environmental changes. Likewise, we should revisit all the information we gathered. Then we should identify how we can change our, how we can renewal our system. In this performance evaluation information is important in a two way. renewal for the general management process. It means the organizational changes. Sometimes the organization, the top management can decide the organizational structure and the major changes should be done based on to the better performance that is guided by the performance evaluation data. The general management functions, the general management decisions can be review and renewal by using performance evaluation data. On the other hand, we have sub-process, systematic process to evaluate our employees' performance. By using the performance evaluation data, we can review and renewal our performance evaluation process itself. That is the last step of performance evaluation process. These are the things we discussed up to this point. The step of the performance management cycle. We discussed the management cycle: plan, act, monitor, and review. Then we move to the performance management cycle. That performance management cycle: performance agreement, personal development plans, performance, and the performance review. Then we move to the main activities of performance management. There are several activities of performance management according to Armstrong 2006. We will discuss. Then 10 steps of systematic process of performance evaluation. We discussed from the established objectives of performance evaluation as the last step of performance systematic process of performance evaluation is review and renewal according to the Professor Opa. These are the review questions. Describe and explain a step of the performance management cycle. You can explain the performance management cycle, the performance agreement. It is started from the performance agreement. Then there are 4 main activities. It is interrelated with the as a sub cycle of the management cycle: plan, act, monitor, and review. Describe and explain main activities of performance management. We discuss all the main activities of performance management. Then we describe the step of systematic process of performance evaluation. There are 10 steps you can describe and explain. That is all. These are my reference document I use to develop these PowerPoint slides. That is all about the performance evaluation models. Thank you very much.